Hey everybody, it's Damon from the Excellent Wrestling Fan. I am playing WWE 2K16. I'm in universe mode. That's the majority of where I do my playing, and I figured I would play some video games while you guys talk about wrestling and stuff, or ask me about wrestling anyway. So, didn't get as many questions as I want, as we see there's like Chris Hero and Will Ospreay. And yeah, if you've ever seen the setup for WWE 2K16, you know how it kind of works. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, let's get into some of these questions. First question is from Sean of the Excellent Wrestling Fan as well. Why is Ric Flair still a part of a storyline in 2016? Well, Ric Flair is still a part of a storyline in 2016 because WWE likes to rely on older names to help get either younger talent over or, to get the crowd into it, because they seem to think that the crowds respond better to older wrestlers. Also, it's used to get his daughter Charlotte over. As we all know, Charlotte is a pretty talented worker, but she's not the most charismatic. And the idea of playing off of her pedigree and who her dad is to help kind of overcome her shortcomings when it comes to promos and things like that. She's not terrible, but she's not the best. But I think it's kind of cool to have a manager type character running around in WWE. I think WWE needs more managers. You've got Maurice running around with The Miz. Enzo Amore, unfortunately, suffered an accident last night, but I was talking with my buddy John, and we both were kind of like, yo, Enzo will be a dope manager. And that's when we started talking about how wrestling needs more managers. So I like Ric Flair with Charlotte. I just don't like Rick interfering in the matches so much. It's getting to the point where it's like we haven't come up with a way to neutralize this ancient old man. It is what it is. Sean had another question. He has three. This is a second of the three. It's why do fans dislike Apollo Crews? I don't know necessarily if they dislike him. He's very athletic, and he does some cool moves that you've never seen before. Apollo Crews is a fantastic wrestler. He's really popular in Dragon Gate in Japan, and I think it's a matter of they're not giving him a character. Because when I saw him in Dragon Gate and the Indies and things like that, they kind of played up that he was this kind of arrogant, superhuman athlete. He always talked about how things were too easy, and I think they need to play that up more. I think he would have been better as kind of like, I guess maybe slightly more heelish, maybe a little bit more arrogant. He's too nice, and people have a hard time getting behind characters, especially faces, who are just overly nice. You need to have a bit of a mean streak about you, and I think that's what that's what will give him over. I think he needs to have more of a mean streak. As I load up this Brian Cage and Ishii match, which would be a phenomenal match. Holy shit, I can't believe that match hasn't happened anywhere yet. Please, someone, if you have the money, book Brian Cage versus Ishii. That match would be incredible. Next question. Again, Sean's last question. Why, after trying to empower the mid-card titles, has WWE weakened them by putting them on The Miz and Kalisto? Well, I necessarily won't say that they're weakened by putting them on Miz and Kalisto. Both guys are very competent workers. Miz is pretty good at getting heat and being an obnoxious heel, which is what you kind of want your mid-card heel champion to be like. And with him having Maurice, I kind of like it because it's a throwback to like a Tully Blanchard type, or maybe like Gino Hernandez, an annoying heel in the mid-card picture with, pretty women all over him. It's nice. It's a nice little throwback. I think they need to kind of tone down how comedic Miz is. It's a little much. I think they make him a little closer to his character when he was WWE champion. I think it would be more likable, and I think that people get behind it more. As far as Kalisto goes, Kalisto is one of the best high flyers in the world, and I don't think the title is necessarily weakened by putting him or making him the U.S. champion. I think it's more the booking. They booked Kalisto to be really weak. He lost the title in his very first defense days after he won the title, the U.S. title. And then, he just looks like a chump in non-title matches. He can't even win a tag match with Sin Cara. They had the thing the other week during the tag tournament where he just laid on the floor the whole time and was injured. I just think that they could do a better job of getting Kalisto over, especially they need to put him with people he can work better with. I was kind of shocked that he and ADR's chemistry is very hit and miss. It's very reminiscent of CM Punk and John Morrison. Either it was really a letdown match-wise or it was a phenomenal match. I think that's what their kind of chemistry is like. I'm surprised that he's had such good chemistry with Ryback, but he needs to be wrestling guys like Cesaro, who are good bases with high flyers, or wrestling other high flyers. Like, he needs to be working with a guy he's worked with before, and Apollo Crews. Obviously, he could have wonderful matches with Seth Rollins and especially Adrian Neville. He's wrestled against Adrian Neville as well, but Neville comes back soon. And you got to put him with guys that he can mesh with. And do you kind of want to play up this whole he's a human pinball thing and have him go against these big plotting dudes, and it doesn't work because, those guys don't know how to wrestle a high flyer that can move like that, because a lot of these guys come through WWE's developmental system. You never learn different styles of wrestling. You only learn one style of wrestling. And I don't think the titles are necessarily weak. A title is all about how you book it. And I just think that they book these two guys not as well as they should. The next question is from Dave Andrew. Why do we never get proper payoffs to feuds anymore? A lot of that is, in my opinion anyway, I guess it's got to be WWE kind of rushes things. They don't let things build up over the course of time, maybe. A lot of it, too, they don't do proper payoffs to feuds because they like the idea of being able to lean on specific matchups to get, to just kind of fill a void. Like Orton and Cena, they're never going to have a blow-off to a feud because they always want to be able to rely on them because those are their two guys. They just, whenever they need a mid-card title, or not mid-card title, but like a heavyweight title picture or something, they always rely on Orton versus Cena. They think that's, a legendary feud. They've described it as, quote-unquote, one of the greatest feuds of all time. So I guess maybe that's why feuds don't get the blow-off that they deserve anymore. And it's just a matter of poor storytelling. A lot of these people that write for WWE, they're sitcom writers, TV show writers who really weren't that good because they wrote a bunch of TV shows that got canceled. They don't know how to finish a story or write a story because they never got a chance to ever finish a story because everything they've ever worked on never had a proper ending. So that's part of the reason too. Next question. Zachary Gale, why the gobbledygooker? Just why? Well, the gobbledygooker was supposed to be kind of a mascot character, which is weird because they made him a turkey and debuted him around Thanksgiving at Survivor Series. So, it seems like that's only kind of a seasonally sensitive mascot. You can only really work around the fall, but for whatever reason, they kept him. They kept the gobbledygooker around for a little bit after Survivor Series. Gobbledygooker is played by Hector Guerrero, the great Hector Guerrero, one of the great high flyers of the 80s, Eddie Guerrero's older brother. I think part of it is just, how do I describe it? WWE was doing this weird thing in the early 90s where they were taking talented workers from different territories and giving them very bizarre gimmicks. Tony Atlas got the Saba Simba gimmick, even though everybody knew it was Tony Atlas. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat came back as just the Dragon, and they played him up almost like a novice, not the fact that he was the Intercontinental Champion. They never mentioned that he was the Intercontinental Champion before. They never called him Ricky Steamboat. Who else is there? Terry Taylor, phenomenal wrestler in the Mid-South. If you don't know anything about Terry Taylor, stop this, go on the WWE Network and find any Mid-South matches you can of Terry Taylor. He is a phenomenal worker from the early to mid-'80s. And, I think it was just something to do with Vince wanting to put embarrassing gimmicks on workers that people liked because they weren't his creation. It almost seemed like that. I can't quite figure out why they did that, but to give you the TLDR version of it, it was just a really bad idea, and it's a testament to all the bad ideas that have come through WWE. It's completely mind-blowing and completely stupid. Yeah. Do we have any more questions on here? I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's it for questions. John was gonna ask me something about Ric Flair, but it came out that it wasn't. It was not a incident with him being drunk at the airport. He just injured himself. So, that's it for questions. But I guess I'll finish watching the rest of this match as Brian Cage hits an F5 there. I don't even know if I've ever seen Brian Cage do an F5. But yeah, while we're watching the rest of this match, a lot of people, especially in the Accidental Wrestling Fan discussion group on Facebook, they talked a lot about how they don't like the gameplay of 2K16, especially my brother. He thinks it's really clunky. I don't mind it, mostly because I've owned every single SmackDown now to 2K wrestling game. I've owned literally every single one. I don't own them all still, obviously. I've sold them and got rid of them at some points. I think the only ones that I still actually own now are 2K14, 2K16, SmackDown 2, and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. I don't mind the gameplay. I think you just kind of got to tweak it to how you want it, and you got to play the game how you want to play it. I don't know how people play it. Maybe they're just trying to do like one-off matches. It feels like the best way to play these games is to really focus on creating your... as Brian Cage flies across the entire ring with that moonsault. But you kind of got to play the game how you want to play it. Don't necessarily get pigeonholed in how you play the game. Don't be afraid to be creative and get rid of different settings and do different things. I think that's what will make the game more fun for you. I love the creativity of the game. I brought back ECW and WCW, mostly because they already have the belts in the game, and I don't want to have to worry about all the created data that will take up hard drive space. That's just so annoying. But anyway, Brian Cage hits a drill claw. Jesus, I can't talk. On Ishii, which is also, ironically, Ishii's finisher. Is that irony? I don't know what irony is anymore. And Brian Cage wins the match. But yeah, anyway, make sure you subscribe to a Podbros channel so you can hear more videos of a sleepy Damon talk about playing video games or talk about random wrestling stuff. And we've got other videos on the channel too. It's mostly just Dave from Dave's Nerd Compendium talking about comic books that are coming out, but we'll put more content on the channel. So with that being said, I'm Damon. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, subscribe to us on iTunes. Make sure you just help us out because we need all the help we can get from all our friends and family because we want to blow this thing up to be quite a big thing. So thanks for watching.